Invest and Let is a service that we at Penningtons have developed to help people interested in the private rented sector buy more residential property. There are a number of issues with buying property, and we have developed this service hopefully to try and alleviate some of the time that may be taken in finding properties, the hassle, and most importantly the risk associated with investing in residential property. We'd also like to think that we are well placed to help you save some money through the process too.
We really started investing in property as our practice has grown. We've taken on more staff, and for some of those staff we've had to find properties for them to live in. When they've moved on or bought their own properties, we've then retained those houses and used them as a long-term investment letting opportunity.
We probably first started about 10 years ago. All of the properties we own are in the sort of surrounds of our shop in Ipswich. We basically bought them as an investment and also to help lift the area.
We need quality landlords who have got quality properties that are treating tenants fairly. And if we do that, the tenants will generally come back to us time and time again, which means that we've got a great book of tenants with a great track record coming back to us time and again, renting properties as and when they move on. So again, it's down to having you guys on board as quality landlords. 60% of the people that walk through the door, they've got somewhere between £550 and £650 a month, and they want something that's got 2 or 3 bedrooms. It's as simple as that. I mean, that's what is being demanded, and that's what we've got to go out into the marketplace and find. And we think that we're positioned very nicely to try and facilitate that. We have been in the market for a long time. Geraldine, my mother and father, set the business up some 24 years ago now. It's in my blood. We know property, we really understand it. We've got the experience. Many of us working on the team have already we are landlords ourselves and we own properties, we understand it. And we know what is going to let.
I think there's always the concern when you have a property with tenants that there's going to be issues with tenants, maintenance problems finding new tenants, but with Penningtons running the show for us, it's been very straightforward and we haven't had any headaches at all.
We've devised 7 steps that we think that would take you through from start to finish, and initially that's going to be having a sit-down meeting, and it's all about you guys. We'd like to understand what your long-term goals are, how much you would like to invest. And if you then decide that you want to go ahead and take us up on the service that we're offering, we need to have some commitment from you by way of an application form and a small fee up front. Once we've gone to that, once we've got that agreement from you, the next thing we need to do is to engage with the other partners that we've got as part of the service, and this is absolutely fundamental and core to the invest and let proposition. We have to have absolute confidence by all of those other stakeholders that the people that we represent have got the wherewithal to go ahead and complete and do a deal if we go and make a final offer. Clearly, if there are problems with the conveyance or the survey or whatever, that's a different matter. But if we genuinely go into the marketplace and we want to make an offer for our clients, we know that we have to have that credibility. But that credibility will develop opportunities for all of us, real proper opportunities. But we get issues where we've got big chains that are built up as people buy. Now, invariably, some of those chains break down. The first-time buyer or the investor can't raise the finance, whatever, chain's dead. We want to be the first people on that list that those agents phone up and say, we've got a chain that's fallen apart, it's a big chain, it's all going horribly wrong, we need one of your cast iron buyers to come in and prop it up, and there's a deal to be done. We've all of a sudden got a motivated buyer. We're putting you in a great position to be able to go in there and hopefully buy something at the right price that's going to give you the return that you need. So really the whole essence of the finance and making sure that we've got all the I's dotted and the T's crossed and getting that credibility in the invest and let brand is absolutely key to making this work for you guys in Ipswich. So a part of the process is going to be pointing in the direction of some of our financial experts who will then be able to advise on top and tail, and I will genuinely need for them to sign you off and say, yes, you're in a position to proceed, and at that point then we'll move forward.
I think Invest and Let could be a very, very good idea for people who have busy working lives and haven't got the time to do it themselves.
To have that experience of a good team behind you to help you make the right decision first time, it's important, because let's face it, it's a huge capital commitment and you want to make sure you get it right.
I think what makes a service like Invest and Let so appealing is that they take all the hard work out of identifying and purchasing a property suitable for renting out.
I think to have the security that somebody who knows more about, in this case, the Ipswich market than you, therefore they could steer the potential investor to the right areas which are going to let quickly to the right kind of client, is information that would take a very long time for the layperson to gather.
The next thing we need to do is to find the properties. Now there's the obvious routes via the website, newspaper, agents. They're absolutely straightforward. There are other options that we also need to tap into, as I alluded to earlier on, working closely with agents, forming those relationships to make certain that we're the first on the list as new properties are coming to the market to get tipped off for those. Also working with developers. If we can build a number of you together, I've already started talking to developers about the potential for developing specifically for us. The beauty of that is, by taking the risk out from a developer, we're able to buy at a lower cost. As we build the Invest and Let, we'll also be looking to market directly to the public. So we'll be advertising for people to come directly to us with properties that maybe they don't want them to go onto the market. We'll be doing leaflet drops and to suitable properties, seeking people that may or may not, or may be wanting to sell but may not want to make it public, and they can come to us and we can talk to them privately and do deals with those guys in a certain knowledge that we're going to do the deal quickly and without any fuss. Once we've opened the negotiations and we've found properties and we've started talking to agents and to sellers and so forth, and we've identified real opportunities that you're particularly interested in, that suit your investment criteria, we will at the outset start talking about how much people are willing to sell for, and once we've got that to a point where we know that we're likely to be able to do a deal, that's the point at which we'll start looking at the property a little bit more seriously, and we'll go in and we'll do what we call an Invest and Let risk and reward report. Now, this isn't a survey, and anybody buying any property, I would highly recommend that you have a chartered surveyor or suitably qualified person doing a survey for you. But this is purely us giving it a once over, but perhaps just in a little bit more detail. So we'll look at the financials. We'll give you an idea of what we think we can buy it for, what we think it's going to let for, what we think the opportunities are for capital growth, and what we think the opportunities are for rental growth over a period of time. And we'll give you those projected figures in a 25-year forecast. And we'll also detail what we can see in terms of works that may or may not need to be done, both to the exterior of the property and the interior of property. We work very closely with contractors that we have on our books that are already approved and are approved our suppliers and work for us on a regular basis, who'd be willing to give us an idea of what the costs are going to be associated with any works that may or may not need to be done. So it's a full report that gives you an idea really of exactly what you're going to get and how much it's going to cost you. So once we've put all that together, we're then in a very good position. We know we've got the finance all lined up, we've found the right property, we've done the risk and reward report. It's time for us to really earn our money and negotiate. Well, I can tell you, Robert, Ian, myself, there's nothing we like more than really getting our teeth stuck into a good deal. We will absolutely save any fees you pay us for this service as a result of our negotiation. Once we've done the deal, we've got it struck, the vendors' agents generally will put together heads of terms, and we will then need to instruct solicitors. Within the Invest and Let service, we have contracted, or we're working with Ashton Casey J, particularly Ian Barnard, who I've worked with for a number of years now. He works within the business in their commercial team. He's pretty no nonsense, get on with it. I love his style. We have a direct line straight through to him, and I would absolutely recommend that we should be working with him, which is why we've built him into the cost of the service, although it doesn't include the disbursements. And at that point, when we exchange contracts on the purchase, we'll be looking to get in there. We will be looking to get in there, get the properties all dressed up and on the market for letting. But within the service, we will do our usual, as many of you will have experienced, in finding the right tenant for you, going through the rigorous vetting and referencing process that we do. We'll get the tenants, we'll ensure that you're entirely happy with those tenants, take the necessary references, get the tenancy agreements drawn up, get those signed off, and move the tenants in there, along with a full inventory of for the property. And that is, as well, all included within the proposition that we're offering you. So we've now got the tenant in place, and that's the point at which that we'd like to then obviously discuss with you about how you then want to proceed on with managing the property, and we'd like to think that you'd choose us to manage it for you on an ongoing basis, to look after it in the way that it needs to be looked after. So just to recap, we'll have the initial review meeting, find your property, produce you the report, negotiate the purchase, manage the purchase from start to finish, and find you a tenant and put a whole inventory package together. I think you'll think that's quite a reasonable proposition, and for that we're only going to charge a flat fee of £1,250, and that includes your solicitor's fee. We're seeking to fill in the application forms I talked earlier on. We need your commitment. We need to build that credibility. So we're looking for an initial £500 deposit up front. That will get us going, get the whole process up and running. And then we'll be looking to invoice the balance of £750 plus VAT on exchange of contracts to be paid on completion. So I hope that you think that all the bits and pieces that we've added in there are pretty good value for money. We think so. If what we've talked about tonight and the Invest and Let service is something that you're interested in, and you're keen to tap into our experience and expertise, and you're looking to invest a bit more in the private sector, hopefully saving you time, hassle and a bit of money, and really using our local knowledge and experience to reduce your risk. That is key. Please feel free to book in for a no obligation investment discovery meeting with either Robert or myself. I hope that you're going to take on board Invest and Let, and it's something that will be of great benefit to you.
We've used Penningtons the whole time that we've rented residential property and owned a residential property to rent. They're well known to us locally. We've known them for years, and therefore I wouldn't look anywhere else.
I think the Invest and Let package is, as it says on the tin, a complete package from start to finish. Identifying a property, arranging the purchase, identifying tenants, placing tenants, and then managing the property thereafter. A complete turnkey solution. It's a no-brainer.